Sup, bitch? I'm finally back, and today I am going to show you a cool idea I had for a sort of, how do you say it, a animated TV series or TV show, something that could be like on Netflix, for example. So, I have a lot of things to remember about this. So this video is going to be probably long and unedited, so it also won't be like in a specific order. I'm just going to tell you as much as I remember so far about this idea I have, and I will probably continue making videos about this in the future. So this is an idea I have for, like I said, for an animated like series or TV show, and it would be called Celestials. So I drew this sort of logo type thingy, and I also put two of the characters for the show in the background, which I already made videos about, and this is so you can just kind of get an idea of the vibe of the show, the style of the show, and so this is just a little sketch, by the way. This is just sort of like a prototype design for a logo or whatever you want to call it. This isn't anything serious yet. And I will warn you if I ever, for example, end up going further into this idea and actually working it out, and who knows, I may be, in some rare case, this becomes an actual show or something. I will be talking about the plot lines in this video, so this will feature spoilers for the idea I have for the plot. Okay, so you can kind of see the setting already from this. So this kind of gives you an idea of what it would look like. This gives you some imagination to run off. Because I can't make drawings for everything, because it would take way too long right now. So, basically in this TV show or whatever, how do you say it? The universe in which this show would play would be kind of similar to ours, but also very different in certain areas. So you would have Earth, and you would have other planets and a solar system, but it would be pretty different from ours. So basically, you have the universe, and then you would have Earth, and then around Earth you would have a different solar system than ours, which has like, how do I summarize this? Basically planets depending on elements. So you can see I kind of have like elements, and as you can tell, this idea of the show is kind of inspired by other franchises like Skylanders, Avatar. It's kind of like Skylanders and Avatar basically. So basically the gods in this universe made the universe and the planets, and there's also kind of like this loophole going on where you have like the Big Bang, which the gods do, and then the universe resets after like a long while, and then a new universe begins with all the reincarnated souls, for example. So the gods created the universe. So you have one thing, you actually have Christianity in this show. So you would have Jesus and God, so Christianity, and then you would also have Satan, and so that would be Satanism. And basically they also created, so they are, how do you say it? So yeah, God, if you know a little bit about the Bible, so God created the universe, blah blah blah, and then Satan came along, but he's much weaker than God, and so God made other like demigods to rule together with, and those were the elemental gods. Each god represents one element, and then on light and dark isn't really supposed to be God and Satan. But it could be maybe, but they could also be their separate demigods. And so basically, God is the most powerful of them all, of course, and then Satan is actually surprisingly a lot weaker. Um, so wait, I need to think for a second. Mm, okay, yeah. So then they create a universe together. You have Earth, which has all the elements in it, and then you have the solar system around it, which has planets depending on each element, with even more planets around it, with sub elements and like sub stuff. And so this is like a lot different of a solar system than we have. And so the way everything would develop is in the show. You would have, it's kind of like Avatar, where you would have a lot of historical events and lore happening before the actual show happens. So the universe would begin, and already there would start being a lot of cultures and lore would arise, and most things would first happen on Earth, and you would have hold on, I need to think. You would have elemental masters, so like elemental benders basically. The first race of humans would be like masters over the elements. They would be able to bend it, kind of like an Avatar, but they would be much better at it than everyone else. Also because like humans are like made in the image of God and all that kind of stuff. And so they would also kind of be like the ancient people because of the show, because they would be the first like humans to exist, kind of like the first generation. Hold on, I need to keep thinking. What else did I want to say? Okay, yeah, so you would have the elemental benders, and then, like I said, historical events would happen just like in real life, but different ones, because of the different universe. And meanwhile, all the things are happening on Earth. On the other planets, you would also have things happening and races developing. But they wouldn't have contact with each other yet because they're on different planets and they don't have that technology yet. But basically, on each planet with each different element, you would have different kinds of ecosystems, plants, and creatures that would have their own unique powers, and humans would kind of be like the sort of like Earth, where they would kind of have possession of everything. But then there would also, for example, be humans who don't really have much powers or no powers. But this wouldn't really serve a problem in the story because, how do you say this? If you think about it realistically, there would be a lot of, how do you say this? It's kind of hard to explain, but there would still be balance, even though there would be people with powers and people with no powers, because it's kind of like in real life where there's situations where certain people are rich, others are not, and then there's people questioning like, why is this the way it is? But everyone has a reason for it. So basically, the ancient people, so the first humans, would develop very advanced technology very quickly, kind of like in The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, where they wouldn't really have like, how do you say it, like futuristic tech, but more like like very advanced technology, but with like a very, how do you see it, like medieval style, kind of like with this logo where you can see it's like in gold and silver, and it looks kind of modern, but also kind of medieval at the same time, sort of. It's hard to explain. And now that I actually think about the logo, let's just go over the elements really quickly. So you can see the logo, it's like a silver and gold badge with lighting up pieces. And then you have the yin yang in the middle because this represents like the good and the evil. And then you have the elements around it, like here. So you have the unknown element. This would basically be like a gray area for all the characters that don't really have a definition of one element. So this would still allow other characters that aren't bound to elements. So this would be very good for designing characters. Then you have the two strongest elements, light and dark, of course. Also, I won't explain too much about the elements. This is very basic. You probably know most of this from Skylanders, for example. Then we have like nature, earth, fire, technology, poison, instead of, for example, say undead in Skylanders, air, water, and magic. So I also put Inferno and Magnikiddy in the background, so you can see like some of the characters that would be in the show. But Magnikiddy is more of a side character, whilst Inferno is actually the main character of the show. So he's very important, so I made sure to put him here. Okay, so I need to think again for the storyline. So basically, after a lot of stuff happens, as generations progressed, the ancient race of humans would kind of die out, and elemental benders would become weaker than their predecessors, and planets would start having contact with each other because of the technology, and this is when a lot of new doors would open up. So I'm going to try and summarize it a little bit because this video could be ages long otherwise, and it's already going to be pretty long. So the planets make contact with each other, and after a while they create this whole how to say it, hero force. Basically, they create a hero force across the solar system. They get a bunch of like government gifted like budget stuff. Where, for example, crystals in this universe play a big role. There's a lot of magic crystals that do a lot of cool things in this universe. I mean, in this franchise. And so basically, the hero force would fund heroes to have all the supplies they need. Like, for example, a special crystal that would allow them to do a lot of useful things, like teleporting to a location where they have to be, teleporting bodies of criminals or bodies of victims to the ER, for example. You kind of know what I mean. Basically, imagine when you're watching one of those superhero shows where the how do you say the superhero is like in New York between the buildings fighting a villain, and he has like a lot of government like given supplies like a smartwatch that lets him like do a lot of things, like contact them with a hologram or something. Basically that, but then without the sci-fi stuff. So not in like not with a smartwatch, but more with like a floating crystal above their hand. And instead of being in New York between the skyscrapers, they would be between like a big piece of land with like villages, because like I said, they would have advanced technology, but not like sci-fi kind of. More like Zelda Breath of the Wild, basically. And so people would live in tribes, and this wouldn't just be like a thing. It wouldn't be like per planet you live in a tribe, because when you think about it, a tribe is like what, 100, 200 people. So there would be many, many tribes in every country, on every planet. So it's not just depending on the elements, okay? Hold on, I need to think again. So, I'm kind of rattling my brain because there's a lot of story stuff I want to tell, but there's also other things I have to tell, and without much, it's not in a specific order, so it might be a bit confusing. But also, basically, in the background, while all of this is happening, there are a bunch of things in this universe going on. For example, in each planet, without the people really knowing it, in every planet there is like an elemental core that keeps the planet thriving, and it's in the middle of the planet. Same thing with Earth, but Earth is actually sort of like hollow on the inside, and it's like a really big indestructible arena with a magic wand on the inside. And I'll explain this now. So every elemental planet has a core, and Earth is hollow on the inside. And there is in every planet there's sort of like an arena in the middle where the core is, and you can go there, but it's sort of secret, no one really knows about it yet. And every core is protected by like an elemental titan, so you can kind of imagine, like, say you go to the core of the fire planet, you'll find yourself in an arena with like a big volcano monster, to give you an example. And so every titan protects each elemental core, because these cores are basically what fuels this element in the universe, and if you steal it, you get the powers, but the planet would probably be destroyed or something. Okay, and so in the middle of Earth there's a really big arena, which is kind of like indestructible, and you would have like a, how do you say it? So say this is like the ground, right? So you would have like a really big golden sort of decorational circle on the ground with like astrology signs on it, and there would be a big sort of like golden wand in the middle that looks kind of like a key. And basically you would be able to collect all the elemental cores, put them in the wand, and then you would pretty much be the most powerful person in the universe, but the gods would still be stronger than you. And this would become like a sort of like a prophecy in this show, where basically one hero would battle one villain that wants the magic wand to take over the universe. But another thing is, if you shove the wand back in the circle, because it's sort of like a key, you can twist it, and you would basically, twisting it would initiate the, how do you say it, the resetting of the universe. You could basically unlock this, and then you would reset the universe, like the gods would do. and everyone would be reincarnated and stuff. So you kind of get the point, I hope. Wait, I need to think again. So you can already imagine every planet has like a very cool ecosystem with its own unique things. And what else did I want to say? Um, oh yeah, okay. So you'd have the hero force again, and every element would have. I mean, like you would have the hero force would be divided over the universe because they can use their crystals to teleport everywhere, and they need people everywhere. So you wouldn't see a lot of the heroes, and they would take shifts for each other. And they would how do you say it? They would have like labels on which element they have to make it easy to decide to which planet they should go, because certain elements counter each other, like water counters fire, for example. And you would have situations where, say, in Inferno is called to go to say the tech planet or something, or he has to go to an area on Earth where there's a lot of tech. They would choose him because he's a fire hero and he could just blow up all of the technology from like the villain's lair, so you can kind of get an idea of what this would be like. And because everyone lives in tribes, everyone would work in teams and stuff, so they would choose a bunch of heroes to work in a team on a mission to beat some kind of criminal or villain. And I think that would give you enough of an idea to think what this would be like. Okay, what else was there? So, like I said, crystals would play a big role in this universe. You would have crystals for heroes to let them do things, and then criminals would also have like their own secret criminal force, but they would live underground and they would have their own crystals as well, but they would be much weaker. And you would have a lot of crystal technology throughout the world. Hold on, I need to think even more. What else would there be? Oh, okay, the plot of the show, real quick. So basically, say this would be an actual like animated series, you would have a bunch of seasons, right? So to keep it easy for now, every season would kind of have like its own villain, and we would start out of season 1. So Inferno, I already explained him. He's part of the hero force. He's one of the fire element leaders. And Inferno would you would basically be shown in season 1 a lot of Inferno's life and his friends, because he would live in tribes, so he would have a lot of friends, of course, and they work together in groups. And then so the main villain for season 1 would be kind of like, to summarize it, a really big demon guy with a hammer and a what was it? And a really big axe, a double-sided axe. So it would be the villain would be a really big like demon guy who has no soul, and he crawled out of the depths of hell to basically kill everyone because he has no soul. He's evil. Blah blah blah. You get it. And if I think again, wait. So, aha, okay. I remember now. Basically, Inferno over here would team up with other people to at the end of the season beat this demon guy, and then after that in season 2 you would kind of have a poison villain. Still have to think about what he would look like, and this isn't definitive yet, but yeah, very simple plot so far, and I would work this out further to make it more interesting. Then season 3 would probably be some kind of vampire villain. You would have like a vampire in like cool, really gothic like black armor, and he could suck blood and use the blood. He would be able to channel the blood as superpowers. So he would have like a cool staff, and he could do a lot of cool things with the blood. And then, say, like, season 4, that would, I think, be the final villain or something, to just give an idea. Okay, so now major spoilers. I already made a quick drawing of this character in the past. So the main villain of the show, at the end of the last season or something, would be an evil version of Inferno. but not like as boring as you're used to seeing an evil version of a character. So basically, the multiverse would exist in this franchise, but we wouldn't really talk much about this because I don't really like the idea of the multiverse, but I do want to use it a little bit, but not too much. But basically, you can go through the multiverse via black holes and white holes. So that sounded kind of wrong, but you know what I mean, as in like in space, not the other kind. So basically, an evil version of Inferno goes through a black hole and stuff, and the story would be that this version of Inferno in his universe, when he got transformed into Fire Spirit, he let the evil take him over, and he basically becomes evil. Pretty simple. Then he has a similar storyline to Inferno's, but basically where he does a lot of bad things. For example, he would force the weaponsmith that made Inferno's armor to make his armor for him instead of doing it willingly. And he would kill a lot of people. He would be like a really, really bad person, like really like the worst of the worst. All the kind of bad things you can think about, killing children, torture, slavery. He would do all of this. And he would basically go search for more destruction within the universe because he likes it so much. And he would eventually find a magic book of like the dark element that would let him gain some dark elemental like powers. And he would change colors, so his fire would become like purple, his color scheme would be kind of like black and silver a little bit more. And so basically this version of Inferno would nickname himself Feratu instead of Inferno. Because it sounds kind of similar and it sounds cool and evil, whatever. And so this version of Inferno would not only have his fire powers, but also dark elemental powers. But Inferno would still be stronger because he masters his powers. And Feratu would basically be almost as strong as Inferno, but not quite, but he would still be a big challenge for him. And to summarize it, Feratu would eventually destroy his universe altogether and the gods would have to reset it. So he goes through a black hole into Inferno's universe, where then he would try to go for even more destruction. But I will probably have to make that plotline a little bit better because it sounds a little boring, but whatever. And now that I think about it, I forgot to mention this show wouldn't be child friendly. By the way, there would be blood and stuff, but there would it sounds dramatic, but there would still be a lot of happy moments and fun stuff going on. But yeah, you would see blood. Feratu goes to Inferno's universe, but he uses like how do you say it? He hides his identity by wearing like a purple how do you say it? A purple gown with astrology signs on it. And eventually, even though Inferno isn't the strongest hero in the hero force, he would become the hero that would fight against Feratu to take over the universe, basically. And wait, I forgot to mention. Yeah, the strongest hero in the hero force would of course be a light character. And it would be like an angel guy with like a knight armor and stuff, but Inferno would end up eventually being the main hero, even though he's not the strongest technically. So to summarize it, Feratu would, how do you say it? Feratu would go with the villain force across the universe to try and collect these elemental cores, because he knows about the staff, but Inferno doesn't. And eventually he would basically do a face reveal to Inferno, tell him everything about like how he's from another universe and stuff. And so he would go around collecting these elements, and maybe the planets would even get destroyed, so that would be very dramatic. And Inferno would quickly try and collect the other elements with the other heroes. And then eventually they would meet at the center of Earth, in the big arena. They would fight with their teams. And eventually it would just be a 1v1 between Inferno and Feratu. And wait, what was the ending again? Inferno kind of powers over Feratu, and he gets a hold of the staff. But the problem is that he doesn't really know how to use it yet, and he realizes that he has no choice but to reset the universe right now, or Feratu is gonna take the staff and destroy everything. And I need to keep thinking. So Inferno eventually resets the universe and kills Feratu. And then, wait, what happened? Okay, so at the end of the universe, basically, it gets reset, and then Inferno gets like flashbacks. He starts floating around the universe while everything gets reset, sort of, and he sees everything getting like destroyed, and he also gets to see like a flashback of Feratu's universe where he sees everything is completely destroyed because of Feratu, and he sees a lot of dead people like floating around in space. And so he just floats around in space as well, whilst almost being frozen to death. And he just kind of stares around. And then he would, how do you say it? He would go unconscious, and the entire universe would kind of like a reverse Big Bang would cramp in each other in a little ball, and that would start the Big Bang again. But before this, Inferno would get to talk with the gods. So they would have a talk with him and basically explain that they have to reset the universe because that's just how things go. But Inferno gets to choose if he wants to play a new role in the next one. He gets to be a sort of like a fire, how do you say it? He gets to be like a spectator of the universe that gets to see all things and like give knowledge and wisdom to some of the people there. And he would basically become this like big fireball, sort of like a sun with like multiple suns floating around in space. And you would be able to go to him for like advice and stuff. He would basically become like one of those characters that you go to for wisdom. And so Inferno agrees with this deal, so he becomes like a wisdom giver, sort of like an alive sun in the universe, and the next universe starts. And I think that would be the end of the show. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So I think. Okay, sorry, my camera got cut off for a second. Okay, so as I was saying, I think that's most of the things I said about this idea for a show. I'm sorry if it was a little confusing because I was kind of saying everything randomly. But just to make it easier to understand, to recap, basically, gods make universe, elemental planets, Earth is center. Inferno is born, Hero Force exists, Villain Force exists. Inferno beats multiple villains, then evil Inferno comes to his universe after he destroyed his. And then he wants to destroy his universe as well. They both start collecting the elements, go to the center of Earth, they battle with their teams. Inferno gets the magic staff that resets the universe. He resets the universe, and he becomes like sort of like a wisdom giver in the next universe. So that's basically the summary of the plot line, kind of. And I forgot to mention really quick. It all sounds very basic and boring maybe for you right now, but the thing is, if you would think about how this would play out in episodes, you would have a lot of things happening in between the plot. Like you would have a lot of side things going on, like Inferno, for example, going maybe to another dimension with other people. It would beat a lot of side villains, go on a lot of cool quests and stuff. So this would actually be a lot more interesting than it sounds, if you think about how episodes would play out, for example. This show would also be a little dramatic, but you would also get to see a lot of their happy moments of the characters, because, like I said, there would be a lot of blood. But to even it out a little, you would also have moments where you just get to see Inferno playing like volleyball with his friends on the beach. And I think that's everything I had to mention. This video is like 30 minutes long, I think. So I'm sorry if this was a little long, but I have a lot of respect for you if you watch this to the end. And I really hope you enjoyed, because I really liked making this. Okay, that's pretty much everything I had to say. Hope you liked it, and see you in the next one. Bye, bitch.